This is a production of WKNO Memphis. Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO. The Lighting Source, major line distributor of commercial and industrial lighting, including hard-to-find bulbs and fixtures, as well as a broad range of LED products. With 35 years' experience servicing lighting needs, The Lighting Source proudly sponsors Sports Files.
the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is one of the most prolific scorers in University of Memphis basketball history and former NBA small forward Cedric Henderson. The Memphis Tigers men's hoop team will wrap up the regular season tomorrow when they face the East Carolina Pirates on the road. Then next week it's off to Orlando for the American Athletic Conference tournament. The Tigers will be the 6th seed in Orlando, clinching a bye in the first round. The Tigers were the beneficiary of SMU's NCAA sanctions, which will prevent the Mustangs from participating in the postseason. Now, last Sunday, Shaq Goodwin was one of 5 players honored on Senior Day. The 4-year star from Atlanta will end up one of the Tigers' top scorers of all time. He's currently 15th on the list and also ranks in the top 10 in rebounds and blocks. That's pretty impressive when you look back at the history of the Memphis Tigers. Part of that history includes a former East High School star by the name of Cedric Henderson, who, like Shaq Goodwin, was a McDonald's All-American. Today, the Tigers' 6th all-time leading scorer will join me to talk about his alma mater, his coaching ambitions, his time in the NBA, and his relationship with other former Tiger greats like Penny Hardaway and the late Lorenzen Wright. Cedric Henderson, next on Sports Files. Cedric, great to have you on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you again. I know you're a big supporter of your alma mater, the University of Memphis. Let me ask you, how often do you get to go to games?
I try to go as when I'm free and I have the opportunity to, but most of the time I kind of watch it at home, but I stay glued to my TV as they play because I do like to watch the Tigers and root for my team.
Well, you live here in Memphis, so you're certainly glued in. You're in touch with what's going on. Have you ever seen a fan base revolt against a coach like they seem to be doing against Josh?
I've seen some bad things. You know, I was there when Larry went through his troubles, but not as bad as this. I think it's kind of ironic that they're doing this because I would hope the fans will come out and support the team, even though you might be upset with the coach.
Most coaches who have a record like Josh has, which is nearly 100 games over 500, they would be happy with that. It's a little different. This is Memphis basketball. They've had national moments, many of them. They've had great players such as yourself. It's a little bit different. Although it's considered, I guess, a mid-major, Memphis basketball is one of the historically great programs. So the pressure's on a little bit more for coaches to perform not just winning games, but who they beat and how far they go in the NCAA tournament. With all that said, what type of job do you think Josh has been doing now finishing up his 7th year?
And with his consideration, I think Josh has been doing a decent job. Lest people don't forget, he didn't really have a lot of coaching experience coming into the game when he started. You know, he was an assistant on the Calipari's, I don't know, I think for a year or two before he got a head coaching job. This is his first head coaching job. I think he's done successful as far as the production of winning. Has he done what we are spoiled, kind of want to do, get into the NCAA, beat those major teams in the top 25? Maybe he had a little trouble with that, but that comes with time. But like you said, this is Memphis. We're very, very spoiled about our basketball, and we want it today. We don't want it tomorrow.
And very passionate about
Yes.
it. What's realistic for Memphis Tigers basketball? Should it be the NCAA tournament every year, every other year, every third year? What's realistic?
Man, that's tough. That's a tough question. I think realistically, as a program, we were used, even during our bad years, we were used to playing some type of postseason. I think that's the most ultimate goal of every coach anyway. Realistically, I think we should be looking to be a NCAA team every year because of the caliber of players we are able to get here in Memphis. I think it's been a little let down in that department as far as not
recruiting
slid down a little bit because Calipari spoiled us. Let's be realistic. He brought in guys like a Derrick Rose, Tariq Evans, CDR. I mean, some high major names. Josh has really done some good job of recruiting, but he hasn't really brought that big fish in yet. And I think he's done a good job bringing the Lawsons in, which I think Dedrick is having a great year as a freshman.
People would argue that they're there because Keelan's there. Father, so it seems like the argument would be anybody would be able to do that. But in defense of Josh, he's done a real nice job, but it has dwindled a bit as the years have gone on. So let me ask you this. With all that said, with everything we've just talked about, should the university make a change? And take the financial issues out of the equation right now. Let's say you can make the move financially. Should you make the move?
I think he's had his turn. It's like a relationship. I think Josh has done a great job in his years here. I don't think he's a bad coach at all. I think he's a great person. I think he's a decent coach. But the relationship with the fans and him are not there. And I hate to say this is the part of the game, but it's still a business as far as some of this stuff goes. We want the fans. We want to have something to cheer about. Right. So maybe the relationship is time to, part ways.
When it's a business with Larry Finch,
yes,
then you can understand a business with Josh Pastner. Yes, when a native son like that can be let go, yes, then anybody can be let go.
Yes.
The talk now is, well, if a move is made, who replaces Josh? Financially, obviously, that's a sticking point because there's a lot of money on the buyout, over $10 million. What can you do with other coaches right now? There's going to be buyouts for them. Can you get them for a certain amount? Or the other story that's been circulating is why not go for a guy that played and starred like you did at the University of Memphis, then Memphis State, Penny Hardaway, who's now coaching, ironically, your alma mater, East High School. Penny Hardaway, we know, brings a name recognition, certainly the ability to recruit, excitement in the fan base. We don't know how good a coach he will be at the college level because he hasn't done that. Is that a legitimate option?
I think so. I mean, like I said before in my statement, Josh wasn't really a proven head coach at the time. So, why not give him a shot to see now?
But he had coached under Lute Olson, he had coached under John Calipari. Penny has not.
He hasn't had the background, but you're talking about an NBA all-star who has, if you look at the NBA now, you see the Jason Kidds, you see Steve Kerr. These guys are getting jobs because they want those. Bill Walton, is the opportunity of it, and they know the basketball history of the game. So they know, he's not an all-star just by luck. He's all-star because he was a student of the game.
And players would be able to relate to him pretty easily, right?
Exactly. And I definitely think he's a name because people know who he is. I mean, his shoe sales are still kind of high. He's a relevant figure in the public's eye. He will bring fans to the arena, I think. Coaching-wise, I think if he surrounds himself with a good staff, he can probably make things happen in that aspect. I mean, I wouldn't argue the point. I mean, I go to the point of saying even look at your North Carolinas, your Duke, and all those big schools. They take a lot of former players and they groom them and they teach them, and that's why they have a great brotherhood in that system. I would love to see the university go that route. I mean, if it's
this would be more thrown into the fire rather than groom, but I completely understand. Yeah. As far as you're concerned, with your coaching career, a couple of years at Wooddale High School, you're now associated with Mike Miller's M33N with our good friend Ernie Kuiper. What's the future hold for you in the coaching realm of things?
Well, I want to get into some collegiate coaching, I think. I tried high school. I think my mind was too fast for some of the things I wanted to teach because of the level I was teaching at. I'm trying to better myself as far as coaching and get out there a little bit more. That's why I'm doing the AAU circuit and still trying to get around. My inspiration is to try to be on the collegiate level as far as coaching. I love the game. I think my kids are old enough now where I can focus in on that aspect of my life.
You have two daughters and a son, Cedric Jr., who just finished up his sophomore year at Briarcrest Christian. If he gets that opportunity to play college ball and let's say gets an offer from Memphis, You having played at Memphis, knowing the pressure of Memphians playing for their hometown school, would you suggest him playing at Memphis or going elsewhere?
I would leave that up to him. I would leave him because that's his life. I made the choice on my own, and I would give him the opportunity to make that same choice on his own. But I will give him a nudge in the direction of coming to my school. You know, who doesn't want their child to kind of go the path you went and, you know, go to the schools and places you've been. The blessing part is I'll be there to hopefully mentor him through the process of being a Memphian at home playing for his hometown.
Yeah, it's a great mentor to have. Not only are you his pops, but you've been there, you've done that as a McDonald's All-American at East, as a star at the University of Memphis, and of course going on to play professionally in the NBA and then around the world. What was your experience like playing in the NBA? And how ironic is this? Two of the teams you played for, Cleveland and Golden State, are pretty darn good right now.
Yes, they are. They weren't that good. They were good in my Cleveland days. Golden State wasn't as great, but they're good right now. And it was man, a blessing. I mean, it was so exciting. You know, I never seen basketball at that level because, you know, you always saw, I mean, when I grew up, you know, probably when we grew up, it was only Memphis basketball. There was no NBA, wasn't no anything. We just saw it on TV.
They were your pro team, right?
We were the pros in college. But when I got to the NBA, I experienced a lot. You talking about, you know, just the regimented workouts, the speed of the game, the ins and out of the game, and then just flying everywhere and just getting to see all these beautiful cities, you know. And here I am, a country boy from Memphis, you know, who didn't even know what Germantown was because I stayed in Binghamton. So, you know, it was definitely an experiment. I mean, a life-changing experiment. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was.
How long did it take till you got over being starstruck? Hey, there's Michael Jordan.
It took me about, well, I don't know, Indiana preseason game when I got dunked on by Jalen Rose, it kind of went out the window real fast. It, right? Went out the window real fast. So it didn't take long because it became a competitive thing, and I was very competitive. Because I was, let's be honest, I was trying to prove myself everywhere I went as far as basketball went. Best
player you ever played with and best player you ever played against?
Well, the best player, of course, you know, is Michael Jordan.
Right.
I think he
Did you ever guard him?
I had to guard him, yes. And it wasn't fun because you knew this guy was going to shoot the ball. He was going to shoot the ball 30 times a night, so it wasn't fun. But I enjoyed it. I took the challenge, and in fact, I kind of brag all the time and say, hey, the year they went 72-10, we beat them. So I take that for credit.
Why not?
Why not? Hey, got to get some bragging rights. And I think the best player I ever played with, it's kind of ironic, and he's our commentator here, is Brevin Knight. And we played for about 4 years at Cleveland together.
Wow, best player you ever played with. Wait till I tell him that.
Yeah, I mean, not like just skill-wise. It was just we had a great relationship.
He was a great leader, right?
Yes, he was a great leader. He was the guy who gave me the ball. So I was like, yeah, me and you can work.
You played against the greatest player ever.
Yes.
But we have a player right now who's doing things that is blowing people's minds. What do you think about a guy like Steph Curry? And even back in the day, 30, 40 years ago, when it was rougher, when you didn't get away with touching players like I mean, now you can't get away with, then you could. How would you defend Steph Curry?
With the rules today, I don't know how they're going to do it because, like you said, you can't touch, you can't bump. I mean, the best you can do, is face guard. I mean, that's probably the only scenario. Say, hey, just don't let the guy catch the ball.
So back then you would mug him.
Yeah, back then he probably would have hit the floor a couple times. I mean, you remember the Detroit and Chicago's days, and they were physical. I think today's game has given him the benefit to be able to be so free. Right. But now, no credit's taken away from this guy. This is probably the best shooter I've seen since his dad, because I played against his dad. And this guy has skill sets. That's what makes him so special, because you don't see a guy who usually he's just a shooter, like a J.J. Redick. He just shoots. But then this guy shoots and he can create his own shot.
His handles.
Oh, his handles.
The way he facilitates.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing, though, you say that because you went up against Dell. Dell was such a great shooter, and it's dwarfed in comparison to what his son is doing.
Yes, it is.
This is a sad subject, but one of your Memphis teammates, Lorenzen Wright, we sit here years now since he was brutally murdered, and we still have no answer to what happened. How close were you to Lorenzen?
We were good friends. I mean, because we played on the same AAU teams, we played on the same college teams, and we kept being friends through our pro careers. When the event happened, I think I was out of town, and I didn't believe it, because Ren was one of those guys who kind of free spirit of guy. I mean, but when it happened, I mean, it was shocking, because you didn't think of a young guy being gone so fast, and we were very close. I mean, our kids went to the same school, Harding, over there at Harding Academy, so we knew each other very well, and so it's been tough, even for his mom. Like I even coached his younger brother, Dominique, now on the AAU circuit, because our families were close, so we stay in touch. So I mean, it's just like you said, there's no answers to what happened.
There's no closure for
to
anybody,
it. Exactly. Right? And that's what the hardest part is about it. I think if we had closure, I think people can rest a little bit easier. But since there's no closure and the things that went on, it's tough to swallow that pill right now.
No question. Well said. We like to end all our interviews with something we call 5 for the road, okay? These are simple questions. First thing that comes to mind. Favorite professional sports team, any sport, all time?
Man, I'm going to say the Los Angeles Lakers. I was a Lakers fan growing up.
Lakers fan growing up?
Irvin Magic Johnson, one of the best competitors in the game.
Sure. Do you get over now to watch the Grizzlies?
Yes, I do. I do watch them. I've been enjoying watching them here recently. I like Jaeger. Jaeger is a good coach. I played against him in the CBA, against his team in the CBA. I like what he's doing with the pace of the game and changing it. But
okay.
Grizzlies are doing well.
Favorite professional athlete of all time?
You're going to laugh at this one. Deion Sanders.
Neon Deion.
Neon Deion.
Prime time.
I thought he was the most energetic, exciting guy in the world. He took the normal interception and changed the whole game.
Yeah, and were you a football player too when you grew up, or just?
I tried.
You tried.
I tried, but weighing probably $165 and getting hit by a 250-pound linebacker wasn't my cup of tea.
Music. Who do you like to listen to? Favorite musician? Favorite genre of music? What do you like to listen to?
I like hip hop. I like hip hop. I've been listening to the J. Cole a lot.
Okay, yeah.
He's pretty good. And I've been a fan of Kendrick Lamar right now.
Right,
that's
real hot.
Real hot.
How about old school hip hop?
Now, old school hip hop, I'm a Eric B. and Rakim guy.
Okay.
I think that was Paid in Full album is probably the classic of all times. You can play it and not even touch it.
There you go. High praise from Cedric. Favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie? Oh, I don't really have a favorite movie. I'm not a big movie buff. But
really?
No, I'm not.
There's no one that you could...
You know what? I'll give you this one. I watched Shawshank Redemption so many times, so I guess that'll probably be my favorite movie.
And you're not the first one to say Shawshank Redemption on this show. Because I asked this question to everybody, and I've heard that answer a few times. And give me your favorite television show.
Now, my favorite television show, and I'm sad it's gone. And
Can I guess what you're going to say?
What? Go ahead.
You're going to say Martin.
No, not Martin.
Martin's been guessed like 1,000 times.
No, not Martin. I'm a Son of Anarchy fan.
Son of Anarchy.
Yes.
Wow.
That was my
I would
show.
never thought that.
Yeah, that was my show. It was different. It was different. It was raw, and it was something that caught my eye, and I was like, man, this is intense, I had to wait till everybody go to bed and watch it, but it was a pretty good show.
Cedric, it's been an absolute pleasure catching back up with you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. That's Cedric Henderson, the former Tigers star. We'll take a break. Overtime is next. I mentioned earlier that last Sunday was senior day for the Tigers, and it ended up being a pretty special day. First, the Tigers beat a good Tulsa team by 10 points. Second, Shaq Goodwin, Tristan Burrell, Ricky Tarrant Jr., Keidron Johnson, and walk-on Caleb Wallingford were all honored. And third, the Tigers drew over 9,000 through the turnstiles, which meant the school averaged more than 6,000 fans in the building per game. It's a significant number because if the average had dipped below 6,000, the university would have received nothing from the Grizzlies per their FedEx Forum lease agreement. Climbing over the 6,000 threshold means a check for somewhere between $420,000 and $480,000. Not quite the full amount of $800,000 if they had averaged 10,000 fans per game, but a significant chunk of change nonetheless. Now at the senior day game, our friends from Boyle Insurance were at it again, helping make it a most enjoyable day for a number of kids from the boys and girls clubs. They not only got to see the victory, but they spent time on the court with the team and even had a chance to mingle with new Tigers head football coach Mike Norvell. Take a look.
We do this because we think that Boys and Girls Club does more for underprivileged kids than any organization in the city. And for many, many years, Boyle has been a supporter of Boys and Girls Club. Our executives have served on the board. We've contributed financially and raised money for them. And we just don't think there's any better way to serve the city than to help kids. As a Memphis State alum, I'd love to turn them into fans. Just a lot of fun, good time.
Our kids are huge fans of the Memphis Tigers, not only of the Memphis Tigers, but basketball in general. But many of them hope someday to be playing on a team at the University of Memphis. I know that's a long shot, but our kids have big dreams. If not playing for the Memphis Grizzlies, they hope to play basketball somewhere, because basketball is their thing. This is a basketball city. And so our kids, if you ask them what's important to them, they'll say basketball. But as Boys and Girls Clubs, we push academic success, good character and citizenship, and healthy lifestyle. And being invited here today by Boyle's Insurance is a perfect way of being part of that, being part of their city. And we thank Boyle for giving them that opportunity. The kids love the opportunity to be a part of their city. Now, many of them come from disadvantaged circumstances and would not have had this opportunity to come to a Tigers game had not Boyle made this opportunity available. So again, we're very thankful to Boyle, who have been a longtime partner of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Memphis. And with Fred Smith and the group, we pray that they will continue to be with us. Academic success opens doors to great futures, and we're all about opening doors to great futures. We have 6 Boys and Girls Clubs and a technical training center. Through our 6 clubs, we offer after-school programs. We offer programs that help the kids to develop the character that will help them to be successful in the future. Through our technical training center, we provide them the life skills, the employment skills that are necessary to have a job in today's society. And not only do we push them toward a job, we push them toward college and our military services. So Boys and Girls Clubs, we're here to make a difference in children's lives, and we are thankful that we have partners like Boyle that are also helping us to pursue those objectives.
I'm looking forward to being happy, having a good time.
Think the Tigers will win today?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite player?
No. Yes.
Who?
Zach Goodwin.
Yeah.
Speaker for the Steak and Burger this year, Penny Hardaway. He went through the Ira Summerson Boys and Girls Club. I got 2 that came through my club that are currently playing for the Tigers, Nick Marshall, Jeremiah Martin. I have a couple more guys that came through the program that went to the Boys and Girls Club. LaRon Black, he's at the University of Illinois, and Chris Conchosa, he's at Florida.
What does the program do for the kids?
The program provides them with character leadership, academic skills, recreation skills, and fine arts.
So what'd you think of the game?
It was fun. I really enjoyed going. I really appreciate the Boys and Girls Club letting us go. It was nice.
Thank thank you for the Boys and Girls Club bringing us here.
Thank you, Sharon Goodwin, the most, best player on Memphis team, and Deidre Lawson. I love y'all.
Once again, a big thanks to the folks at Boyle Insurance. Before we say goodbye, the Grizzlies will close out a 3-game homestand tomorrow as they take on the Phoenix Suns. Now, that's the same team that knocked off the Grizz a week ago in the Valley of the Sun. The Grizz continue to play shorthanded with Marc Gasol out for the year, and now fellow big man Brandon Wright back on the shelf with a sprained MCL in his right knee. That's the same knee that was surgically repaired back in December. Now, the team did sign center Ryan Hollins. After Sunday's game, the Grizz will visit Cleveland and Boston before returning home to face the New Orleans Pelicans this Friday. And that'll do it for now. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO. The Lighting Source, major line distributor of commercial and industrial lighting, including hard-to-find bulbs and fixtures, as well as a broad range of LED products. With 35 years' experience servicing lighting needs, The Lighting Source proudly sponsors Sports Files.